need 6 billion cumulative driven miles of FSD to get regulatory approval. Well, in the last Q3 earnings report, we've reached that number.
If you were to bet $10,000 right now to pick when FSD Supervised is going to be released.
The most optimistic scenario for me, which is realistic, I would say...
I've been following Keys on X, and he's been probably like the best source of information about the regulatory progress of FSD in Europe. Let's talk specifics right now, because this is like the meat that I wanted to get to. With your like track record and history of looking at all of this, what do you think is the path to getting FSD here? And do you even think we're getting supervised at all before getting unsupervised? Because like let's save that question for a little bit later, but first let's focus on what do you think the most likely path is starting from today to like when you can push that button and start FSD on this very highway?
I think the most probable route is still the Article 39 exemption. So I've written an article about that, and I actually got some replies from people working at Tesla and other regulators or policymakers at big automakers that I wasn't too far off. The RDW already did something like this back in 2016 with Autopilot. So a while ago, like a couple minutes ago, when I was talking about UNECE sets the rules, it goes both ways. So we can either wait for the UNECE to make the rules, or a type approval authority at nation state level can grant an exemption from the rules that are already in place or to be made, a testing exemption, which Tesla got back at in the day, and then they are granted approval to drive around. And exactly this is now happening again. So this Article 39 exemption path is being taken.
So let me simplify what you said right now again about the Article 39 exemption.
Yeah.
That is like the most hopeful thing I've heard so far while sliding into this rabbit hole of FSD approval. Because this Article 39 thing can basically give us like a temporary exemption, but temporary could mean like several years, which is what we would need for the UNECE rules to catch up. So like what we are waiting for right now, and again, like correct me if I'm wrong, is for the RDW to say, yeah, FSD is cool, here's this exemption, and then like immediately following that, we could start seeing FSD being rolled out?
Yes. So like if RDW grants the exemption, that would be valid immediately for the Netherlands. So FSD Supervised could be released here to consumers and users. Then other nation states could also allow the same exemption, or they wait for UNECE approval.
Yeah, but when like all it takes is for one country to approve it, and then the other countries, if they wish so, they don't have to test it again. They can just approve it based on the testing done in the Netherlands.
Because as I said earlier, once the RDW approves, they get the E4 mark, which is a European-wide recognized quality certification, so to say. So then there's no actual blocker.
All right, that sounds like pretty hopeful. Do you, like, what is your assessment of the like percentage chance that they're gonna approve it soonish? Like, let's say within 6 months or something.
Below 10%.
Below 10% in 6 months.
Yeah.
What about let's say within 2 years from now?
I think that's a solid 65%.
65% chance in your opinion,
for Tesla, right?
that
So
we're,
like
what
for
we're
other
getting
OEMs,
FSD supervised specifically
yeah.
within 2 years?
Well, if my assumption about Tesla is correct, so that Tesla will not like change anything or like give an inch to regulators, then the probability is fairly low.
Even for the exemption?
Well, the exemptionary path is we don't know how far it is yet. So like the news that comes out publicly has become less and less and less.
Yeah.
So the public is a lot less informed, and they don't mention it that often actually. But if the exemptionary path is indeed being undertaken, and we hear that exemption is granted, then it's a very high possibility that we'll see it soon.
Yeah.
But if the exemption for Tesla specific is not granted, then within the next 2 years, no chance.
Yeah, so what you're saying is that it all like comes down to if this exception is going to be granted or not.
Exactly.
Because if it's not going to be granted, then just based on the UNECE rules, we're not going to see FSD anytime soon.
No, I think the only way forward is the exemption, the Article 39 procedure, and the UNECE is, it's game over. I wouldn't put my faith or trust in that.
These predictions sound pretty crushing so far, but don't worry, hope is coming later in the video, where we discuss supervised versus unsupervised timelines and the most realistic date of European FSD rollout. Be sure to like the video if you appreciate that I literally flew to Amsterdam to make it. And if you want to support high-quality European-made videos like these, consider becoming a channel member to unlock early access and unique emojis, plus an evolving robot badge that self-upgrades as your membership progresses. And if you want to get your own robot on wheels, I highly recommend taking advantage of the referral bonus by using my unique link in the video description. 1,000 kilometers of free supercharging or 3 months of free FSD with your new car? That's what I call a steal.
Okay, let's talk some more about timelines, because I think that's what both me and the viewers are interested in the most.
Yeah, definitely.
In the Czech Republic, we have a new law coming into effect. Maybe you've heard about this also.
I've posted about it, yeah.
Very soon, January 2026.
Yeah.
Level 3 autonomy will be legal on highways only, but still, full level 3 autonomy, which ironically is beyond what FSD supervised is, because that is going to require the automaker to take full responsibility for what the car is doing.
Yep.
So even though, like, this makes me think that we might actually see FSD unsupervised in Europe sooner than FSD supervised.
Oh, 100%. Like, I completely agree with your logic, and I've come to the same realization.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you think it's also going to happen in other places? Because the Czech Republic is quite the like early adopter in this kind of legislation.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of that, being a citizen of that state. But it kind of makes sense to me that the argumentation from the regulators is basically, look, if we're gonna have self-driving cars, it's gonna have to be 100%, and the automaker is gonna have to take responsibility. And they're very hesitant to do some kind of half measure, which is what they see FSD supervised as, where the car is doing all of the driving, but then there still is the caveat that you as the driver are responsible if it messes up in any way.
Yeah.
So like, that is like the only logical thing I see in their decision making. It kind of makes sense to me, but what do you think are the timelines on supervised versus unsupervised? So you already told me that you see 10% chance of getting FSD supervised in less than half a year. And then you told me that you see 65% within 2 years.
Yeah.
So Do you think that within 2 years, so that's like before 2028, is the most probable rollout of any of these features? Or go into a little bit more detail about how you think about this.
Yeah, well, the European Union as well as the United Nations in parallel are making regulations for full autonomous driving. And the timelines for that are 2027 for the first deliverables. Well, we've all seen that the first deliverables of DCAS and AOKS legislation take quite some time. So that can easily be 2 years from first draft to like full entry into force. I think 2028, 2029 is a realistic timeline when you look at unsupervised. And with the current state of DCAS and the pace of innovation and approvals, with phase 3 yet still needed to be voted on, and I think that'll be March 2026. So that will be then phase 3 of DCAS in urban environments, being fully approved and entered into force September 2026 at its earliest, probably January 2027, but probably also again level 2 still. I think supervised and unsupervised in Europe will happen at the same time instead of what we've seen in the US happening or in Australia right now.
Yeah, speaking of Australia, they are also, if I understand it correctly, under like the UNECE rules.
100%.
But they did roll out FSD, so what's going on with that?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and I'm still kind of baffled by that as well.
And it went super quickly as well.
It went super quick.
From first news to first software updates, it was in the matter of days?
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, so don't pin me down on this, but like there's a difference in being part of the 1958 UNECE agreement as a contracting party and also ratifying the agreements. So the United States also takes part in designing the regulations on a global scale, but doesn't adhere to those rules internally in their internal politics, domestic politics. And I think Australia in this case has the same position. And as a nation state, you can always decide to go for your own rules, but like, yeah, you know how it is with Europe. Ever since the introduction of the EEG and then the European Union, we all follow our own rules, except for Poland, for instance, which takes another approach. But you'll always have like your right to make your own decisions as a state, as a nation state. But yeah, that's one that keeps on amazing me as well. The Australia, New Zealand part of it.
Very happy for those people.
Yeah, but also Japan. I think Japan also is allowed to drive around with FSD right now.
Yeah, they're like, I think they're rolling it out, or maybe in the like latest phases of testing it.
Exactly. And
very good news as well.
And Japan also takes part in the same regulations as the Netherlands, Germany, the UK does.
And do you think, as FSD supervised spreads around the world, that the European not automakers, they of course do, but the European regulators, and especially the RDW, do you think they are influenced by it in any way? Do you think they feel pressured, or maybe do you think they look at that and tell to themselves, well, maybe if Australia approved it and now Japan approved it, we are in a very different situation than a few years ago, where the crazy USA was the only one who was allowed to use FSD.
Yeah. So I hope
feels like we're losing out on this opportunity as Europe right now.
I hope they take a look at this, and I do think that. Okay, let's take Elon's words again. he always mentioned we need 6 billion miles of 6 billion cumulative driven miles of FSD to get regulatory approval. Well, in the last Q3 earnings report, we've reached that number. Funnily enough, or coincidentally enough, we have a wide release active FSD in North America, Canada. We have it in Australia, New Zealand. We have it in China and possibly also Japan. Am I missing
Mexico and Puerto Rico?
Puerto Rico, yeah. So it's already being released to a lot of vehicles. And once the safety statistics show that it simply cannot be ignored anymore, also consider this, like the European Union is an economic bloc, which has, like in their own saying, are for innovation. If the whole world is innovating and making safety speak for itself, the European Union is going to dig its own grave if they don't allow it. Like they'll be the last ones. And look at the economic opportunities as well of unsupervised autonomous driving. And not only for passenger vehicles, because like for us it's a fun, nice to have feature if we can do other stuff while driving.
It's more of a feature of quality than quantity. But
exactly, but consider long haul or medium haul trucking.
Yeah.
That's where the biggest gains are being made.
And also robotaxis, like that's...
The economic potential and the life-saving potential is so unreal, so wild that like keeping on ignoring this would be economically and safety-wise a very dumb decision to keep on blocking FSD.
Indeed. So given all of this, like what do you think is, if you were to bet $10,000 right now to pick the most accurate date of when FSD Supervised is going to be released in at least one European state, when would you say that will happen?
The most accurate date?
Take a bet right now.
Of unsupervised or
Supervised. But you said earlier that you think they're gonna happen about the same time, right?
Yeah, that's what I've come to think right now, because my optimism has and my hopium has died a little bit. I've become slightly more realistic in the last months. But let's say the most optimistic scenario for me, which is realistic, considering that UNECE does its utmost best, and the Article 39 exemption is indeed in full effect and gets approval, I would say April 27.
Wow.
As if all goes well and no more blockers keep on showing up.
All right.
But like the DCAS phase 3, it's ongoing. They're making this, and phase 3 is like hands-off urban driving as well. If that gets voted on, March is too optimistic of 2026. Then September 2026 might be something. 6 months later, entry into force, then a software update a month after the entry into force date. So that'll be April, and it would be the best if this would be April 20th. So that of course would be 420 in 2027.
420 2027. That's
and you know what they say, the most
so far in the future.
The most ironic outcome is the most likely one.
Yeah,
it's my third Elon quote.
I'm going to hold you up to that date.
Well,
and if that doesn't happen, I'll visit Amsterdam again.
You better show up with that 10K in your hand, man.
Yeah.
I would love to see that envelope with 10K cash.
Yeah. So that is like your most most optimistic scenario that it's still realistic.
Most optimistic, which is also realistic. Yeah, completely right. Yeah.
And what do you think is the worst case? When do we see FSD in the worst case?
Late 28, mid 29.
Okay, so it's not that big of a difference. Like, they can't continue ignoring it forever.
No, unless the rules set forth by the ADS legislation, so the autonomous driving system legislation, which is being made, are still like too much in a mindset of if this then that, exception here, exception there, then still Tesla would be the outlier compared to all other OEMs. So I will keep a close eye on developments in that respect, but I think with the developments around AI, machine learning, and also like the cumulative miles driven and the safety data around the world, I think and I hope that regulators worldwide won't be that dumb to make these restrictions.
So you do think the RDW, for example, is also taking a look at data from other parts of the world and not just Europe?
They receive it from Tesla. So I've multiple times, also in the article I did together with Business Insider, I did a couple of these public information requests. When I do that, Tesla employees are actually quite bummed out because they need to work with a team of lawyers. What can and can't we disclose? So like from all the documents that they provide to the RDW, like half of it is blacked out, grayed out, and not visible. But they do share international safety statistics. And also like how the car works, how it functions, and they do multiple test drives around the year. So FSD, as you've seen the videos by Tesla, it is being tested in Paris, Rome, Prague, Rotterdam, Amsterdam. It's being tested everywhere.
But that's probably like super small scale, right? Like we're talking single digits of cars? Single
digits, perhaps double digits.
Okay.
But like per country then, right? So I know for a fact in Norway they're driving around with 2 vehicles, perhaps 3. In Spain there's a couple. In Germany there's a couple. In the Netherlands, testing and validation vehicles, I see them quite often with multiple different license plates. So in total, I think, let's say the fleet is around 50 European test vehicles.
Yeah. So that data serves more like a proof of concept than like the amount of data and like safety statistics and stuff like that. Like I feel like the fact that you can see a video of a Tesla driving through Amsterdam on FSD is much more telling than, or like it's I think it's in like a great synergy with the vast amount of data from all around the world that tells you that, hey, this system is safe everywhere, and by the way, it can also drive in the specific regions of European city streets, and here's the proof for that.
Yeah, exactly, because like that argument has always been like, it can never drive in smaller cities such as Paris with much more traffic and more pedestrians and intricate situations.
Yeah.
Whereas they say like, yeah, the US is bigger and people keep more distance and the rules are different. Of course, it needs to be trained on country-specific or region-specific situation or context. But I do need to like be a little bit realistic and a little bit more pessimistic than most of the FSD cult, the FSD optimists. It still makes mistakes. So even unsupervised still makes mistakes. As you see some videos, the people testing it.
But it's never going to be perfect, right? Like my argument against this is like, well, it does make mistakes, but don't we just care about it making less mistakes than humans do?
As long as it's like at least a 10x safer than the average human driver.
Do you think that that's the threshold, by the way? Like a 10x, that is...
Yeah, because like right now they've proven already to be safer than the average human driver. And the next step change would be, I think, a 10x improvement.
Yeah.
And then it's simply, you cannot ignore it anymore, because a 10x improvement compared to the average human driver means a lot less casualties and fatalities.
Yeah, of course. Like, that's the like main argument from morality standpoint, that it should be approved as soon as possible. Yeah. Well, one last and super important question that I'm really glad that I remembered is, what can we do to speed this process up? Or do you think it's like hopeless to try to communicate with maybe our local governments? For example, like the main secretary or something of transport in the Czech Republic is really active on X, so I could like send him a message or something. Do you think that could be productive, like trying to make the government know that we do want FSD, that it's important to the citizens?
Well,
what can people watching this video do to make this all come a little bit sooner?
Yeah, well, I think most of the efforts bottom up, you know, from civilians, are actually counterproductive, because there's already this anti-Tesla sentiment and the feeling that Tesla pays people to harass government officials. There is this sentiment, so it will actually make them hate Tesla even more.
Okay.
And what I told you earlier, like the public information request that I did, results in more work for Tesla employees and lawyers and costs and time that they cannot spend on the actual communicating with type approval authorities and nation states and governments. So I would just suggest, let Tesla do what they do best, develop software and have the regulators catch up. But what I do think is a good thing to have or to do is what you just said. And then, like, if you do it on a massive scale, that's also like really annoying for, let's say I'm a prime minister. Well, first of all, there's not many prime ministers or presidents that will run their own social media account. They have a team to do that. I think Elon is one of the very few people that really does it himself. But the messages won't get through. But like, if you can convince high office holding government officials of like how good this works, and to make them aware of like the economic upsides, safety upsides and possibilities there.
So more in like a positive way than trying to push them.
Exactly, that they can then make and direct policy towards introducing autonomous driving instead of harassing bureaucrats.
Yeah.
Because bureaucrats are bureaucrats and people hate them for a reason. They will even work against you if it results in more work for them. Because they clock in at like 9, they leave office at 3, and once it's Thursday 4 o'clock, see you next Wednesday. You know, like that won't help. I think that will only lead to more frustration, and it will distract Tesla's capabilities and from doing what they should be doing.
Amazing.
So yeah,
I think that's like really good advice overall. Like, try not to be hostile, even though we know they're stupid, but still it pays off to be patient and
it's
not be
very
hostile.
easy to get in this emotional, angry reaction and reaction of disbelief. But that's not how the world works, sadly. And yeah, overflooding them with messages, letters, emails. It will only give you like very basic replies and be counterproductive,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah, I think you're right to point that out.
And the people in Amsterdam always like to joke around that it's 1 meter of dirt, 1 meter of water, and then 1 meter of bicycles. And I think
I'm about to get my first car ever, which is of course going to be a Tesla.
Awesome.
And
good choice.
Like the 80% main reason I'm getting this car is just that I can test FSD in Europe and be one of the first to do that. Would you get the car now just to be sure, or would you wait for some piece of news to come out of RDW?
Yeah, so like the buy signal, like the go signal, the green light is
going to be the main focus in our next video. So be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be the first to catch it. And if it's already out, it should be in the middle of your screen right now. Consider becoming a channel member by clicking the join button down below and let me know your best estimate of when we'll finally get to use Tesla self-driving in Europe with regulatory approval. In the meantime, we still have a few Cybertruck adventures to look forward to.